Welcome. My name is Severin Garrett, and this is a training call that we're recording today for our Team Health for Life group. And Amanda is a sideline buddy that I have been so excited to meet. And so I'm going to introduce you to Amanda first, and then we're going to walk through an interview kind of format just to learn more about some of her successes. Amanda Haddix is her name, and she lives here near the Atlanta area with me. We got connected because she wanted to join somewhere local for the Pajama Regional, and this is just a great example of how we want to join forces with our sideline buddies. So Amanda's upline is in Virginia, and Amanda started her Juice Plus career, if you will, or opportunity in January of 2018, and she got her fast track to sales coordinator in 6 months, which is super exciting. The most important part of that story is that she did most of that with social media. So I wanted us to learn from her today, and I also wanted, and Amanda, I didn't prepare you for this, but I'm sure you're going to be ready. We would love to hear your Juice Plus story. So we can either start with that or end with that. Because I know we're going to focus on your social media posting first, but I believe that we all love, hearing each other's stories. Mm-hmm. So, Amanda, let me just begin with a simple question. And because you've had so much success with social media, I think the first thing that people want to know is, well, how often do you post? And what is it that you post most often, or how do you mix up personal and professional?
Okay, yeah, thanks. So posting, I post daily. I post at least 2 times a day. I do have 2 little girls, Scarlett and Emmeline. They're 2 and 4 years old. And so they are in all of my posts pretty much just because I love them. And, I want to show my family off. And, if I'm going to be posting about them and, our healthy habits anyways, I might as well, tie the 2 together, because that's what this mission is really all about.
No, I love that. And I see your posts. Your girls are adorable. Yeah, absolutely. Now, what is your mix between personal and health or Juice Plus oriented?
So I try to mix it up. Definitely. I'd probably say maybe half and half. If I post, one thing about Juice Plus, I always make sure I post at least one thing that's also personal. Like, I don't want people to feel inundated with nothing but, Juice Plus posts. And, if the personal post happens to coincide with it as well, if the girls are drinking a smoothie or we're doing something, outside active, being active, because that is all part of it, showing that healthy lifestyle. So in a roundabout way, I guess all of my posts sort of, if you really look at them, could have something to do with Juice Plus also.
Yeah, but this weekend your daughter had a birthday party, and I didn't see anything specific to health. You were just having fun as a family. And
there you go, exactly. Yep.
Looking adorable and, sharing your life. So
yeah, that's what it's all about. Yep, you want to be, everybody, you want them to see, you want to live the lifestyle that you're trying to get other people to learn about. So.
Now, on that same thought process, do you have a certain time of day that you prefer? Are you that intentional, or are you just kind of whenever you can get to it as a busy mom?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So I have found, and I've learned from others along the way, that posting around lunchtime and then from like 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. are definitely the best times to reach the most people. Obviously you can post just whenever you have time. That works also. But not as many people are going to see it necessarily, because the way that the Facebook algorithms work is, right when you post it is when it posts to that person's wall. So if they don't log into Facebook for 3 hours, then their newsfeed is going to be full of all those other posts, after yours. So they might not ever see what you posted. Whereas if you post right at lunchtime, because they're getting off of, they're on their lunch break and they're going to be scrolling through Facebook, they're more likely to see what you've posted.
That's great feedback. I hadn't thought about that. Okay, tell me a little bit about going live and how you do that. Is it easy? Is it hard?
Those are all good questions. In the beginning, it's definitely nerve-wracking, and I still get the little butterflies in my stomach, but I try not to overthink it, because that's when it just kind of all goes haywire. If I have something in my mind, or I've read an article that I think is really interesting, I'll just pop on there and I'll say, hey, I read this and I want everybody to hear about it. But then sometimes, I made a post not too long ago that was a video showing kind of the difference between a multivitamin versus the Juice Plus Nutrition with the, I don't know if anybody's ever seen the video. I recreated it. I've seen other people do it before with the sand and the like bigger balls that you put into a jar. And that post, I did have to kind of practice a little bit and make sure that I had it all, right. But again, my daughters were part of it. My girls poured the sand into the jar and, everything else. So I practiced with that one more, but most of the time I don't really. I did also do a live series because I do the Shred 10 every month. And so that's a big part of, what I promote, through my social media is the Shred 10 program. And so I did do a week-long series. Every day I went live and I talked about a different, okay, why do we eliminate gluten? Why do we eliminate sugar? Why? And so I went through just the Shred 10 guide and I just read it live for everybody to hear and to kind of get that banter back and forth with people.
Love that. Now, did you say that when you go live, you actually capture more audience? Can you tell that the numbers are higher?
Oh, definitely. Yes. I know that people watch videos a lot more than they just will sit and, read a bunch of verbiage on a post. You do want to try and keep them shorter, though. The longer they are, you're not going to hold people's attention for very long. And I tend to be a talker and, it's so much great information. You just want to keep going, but you also want to keep that, I don't want to say mystery, but you want to keep them wanting to ask more questions. You don't want to try and, give them all the information at once because then they're not going to be as likely to try to reach out to you later. So.
And when you say short, what do you think the magic number is?
That's a hard one. I've heard less than 5 minutes. I've heard less than 3 minutes. So I try to stay kind of right around there if I can.
Okay, perfect. Because you're a busy mom and you have, obviously a lot going on in your life, what kind of time would you say that you commit to spending on Facebook each day or social media in general? It doesn't have to be Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, I would say probably around an hour total. It just depends on what I'm doing. If I'm going live, then I'll probably spend a little bit more time there. Or, if I do have more time, it's usually when my daughter's napping is when I'll sit there and kind of scroll down through, or I'll make a quick post here or there. Or, I'll just I don't sit down and I'm not on Facebook for an hour straight every day, but I will, just little chunks here and there throughout the day. So I'd say probably no more than an hour.
Okay. And tell me a little bit more. You mentioned when we were kind of preparing for today's call that it's important that you don't just scroll through, that you like and comment on everyone that you want to, be friends with for the future and maybe pursue as a prospect for the business.
Yes. Yeah. So going back to the algorithms a little bit, I do always I'll make my post and then I will go through and I'll scroll through and see what my friends are posting. And if it's a healthy, something outdoorsy activity that I like, I'll like on that and I'll make a comment, hey, that looks like fun, or, we did that, so-and-so, or that's on our bucket list, or, whatever the post is, like and comment on it. And then, or if they're asking for a recipe or, some other kind of idea, I always like to put my 2 cents in there. Also, what some of my favorite go-tos, that I know are healthy, but, they might not be on that train of thought until hey, that does sound pretty good. And the reason that I go through and I like and I comment on as many posts as I can is because Facebook sees that and they say, so because you could have 5,000 friends, but you're not really friends with all of them. And I'm sure you guys notice on your Facebook feed, you see the same few people's posts over and over again. So if you're liking and commenting on other people's posts, then Facebook's going to recognize that relationship and you're going to pop up more frequently in their newsfeed. And that's what you want. You want to be seen as often as possible. And that's a good way to do that. And messaging people also Facebook recognizes that as a closer relationship. And so again, you'll be in their feed more frequently because of that too. So one way that I like to use that is I go every day and I see whose birthday it is. And I will just real quick comment on their page, happy birthday, or I'll put a happy birthday GIF or, something like that. And that's just a quick little thing. And, maybe it'll brighten their day also. So maybe most of the time it's people that I don't talk to very often anyway. So I wouldn't have known it was their birthday, but it's always nice to get those little messages. And, sometimes it'll spark a conversation. I've had a few of them actually who will reach out to me. Hey, thank you so much. I haven't heard from you in forever, like some old high school friends and stuff. And it's just worked out.
So let me just clarify, because that was a great point. I get all these people's birthdays popping up on my wall, and I usually go and post something and create a photo. But are you saying also go to their messenger on the same day, or it doesn't matter?
Nope. I'm not saying go to their messenger on the same day. I'm saying, like, I have in some situations, I'll just say happy birthday to them, and then they will reach out to me after the fact and be like, hey, I haven't heard from you in so long. Thanks for saying happy birthday. How have you been? And then we just start talking.
Perfect. Okay, great. Let's talk about follow-up. I think that's something that is really near and dear to my heart, because it's easy to go on Facebook and, like people and comment on people. But how are you tracking or following up with people so that that you're pursuing the people that, you're interested in maybe being a prospect for the product or the business?
So I don't have a great actual way to track that. And that's something that I'm working on. I definitely, need to be a little more organized with that. But I kind of in my mind can remember, okay, so this person has liked at least 3 of my posts. And if I notice that pretty consistently, then I will usually reach out to them. I'll message them, or if they're really good friends of mine anyways, and they've been liking my stuff, I'll just make a comment on whatever that, so that it's there and everybody can see it. Like, hey, and just, I kind of call them out, but not really. But, they're my friends anyways. That's my war market. So it's okay if I do that to them. But if it's somebody that I'm just acquaintances with, and they've liked quite a few of and they're Juice Plus specific posts. Like if they're liking posts about my daughters, then I'm not going to, reach out to them necessarily. But if they are Juice Plus specific, then, I will, reach out to them on Messenger and just be like, hey, thanks for liking my post. And before I message them, I always go to their page and kind of stalk them a little bit. And I see, what have they been posting about recently? And if I find a post that I think, it was interesting or cute or whatever, I will always mention that first, just to kind of get that conversation started. And then, depending on what the post is that they liked, sometimes I will be bold, and I'll say, hey, thank you for liking all of these posts, about the healthy living revolution that I'm on, this mission that I'm a part of. Would you be open to hearing, more? If I sent you a video, would you watch? That verbiage really opens up a lot of doors. And I've been trying to be a lot more intentional about using those specific words in my messages. And it seems to have been working.
I love that. That's great. So let me be sure I understood that last comment. So if somebody is liking your post a lot and you say it's a friend of yours and you call them out on it, what do you mean by that? Help me go a little further.
Oh, I'd have to think of
something along the lines of, your girlfriend from church is liking all your Juice Plus posts. Then you go, hey girl, we've been talking about this forever. We need to sit down.
There you go. Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Or so I have it's a private Facebook group that I've got going on right now it's a 21-day plank challenge actually. Mm-hmm. And there's somebody in that I had been talking to. We had talked about Juice Plus. She said she wanted to order, and then she hadn't ordered on her own. And so I had tried to reach out to her to get her on the phone to do it for her. And we did just never connected. And then she posted for the first time in the plank challenge on a post that I had made, because I actually invited some people to one of the calls last night within that group. And she commented on it, so I was like, hey, we've been talking about, we need to get you on the Juice Plus train, when can I call you or whatever. And so, that's an example of it, I guess, right there. So
yeah, because you're friends with her, you knew she wouldn't freak out. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Okay. So I like what you're saying about kind of monitoring their likes and their comments. And right now you don't have certainly a system, but I understand that you can kind of keep track of who's doing that. Mm-hmm. What would be some of the language that you might suggest when you're trying to reach out via Messenger with some of these people that maybe you don't know that well, but you want to start connecting with them?
Yeah. All right. So let me actually pull up. I don't know if anybody has been participating in the JP 90-day game challenge, but that has been, I have tried to do that from the get-go. And I will tell you, the first month I was very consistent with that. And I posted exactly what they wanted us to post each day. on top of my normal additional posts.
On top. Okay.
Yes. So I didn't take one of my posts away because I was adding their post in. I was just incorporating theirs as well. And the wording, a lot of the wording that they were giving, helped a lot. So this was an example of wording a message that I sent to. So Instagram, I have a lot of followers, are people that I don't know. The majority of my followers on Instagram are people that I don't know. And so it was hard for me, and I wasn't sure how to reach out to them and to start this. But I'm a dental hygienist by trade. So a lot of my followers are also, health professionals, in that regard. And so this was a dental hygienist that had liked a few of my things and then had started following me. And so this is what I sent to her. I said, "Hey, Anna, thanks for the like and comment on my post about brushing your cells." That was something that I had done. "As a fellow dental hygienist, I know you understand the true importance of prevention, and I have partnered with a company that inspires healthy living around the world and prevention of all disease facets, not just oral disease. I have no idea if you would be interested," because I don't, "but I don't want to keep this information from you since it seems like it would totally be up your alley. Are you open to hearing more?" And she said, "Hi, Amanda. Yes, always looking to learn more." And we've just kind of been in dialogue, since that point. So, so that's kind of how I reached out to her. And I mean, I didn't have any idea. I don't know how people are going to interpret, that message, but you just have to sometimes just put it out there and see what comes back.
Be bold and courageous. That's what we're learning.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're going to love that Brave Leaders program that you get to participate in. It's pretty amazing. Okay. I love that. And we'll post that language on our team page, those of you guys who want to see it in writing. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about you never jump out there on Messenger and say, "Hey, would you like to learn more about Juice Plus?" When you haven't been connected with somebody. Tell me what can happen if somebody does that unintentionally.
Okay. Yeah. So in the beginning, I was super excited about Juice Plus, and, I was wanting to tell the whole world, which I mean, I think we all do, and that's wonderful. But there's definitely a tact that has to go with it. And so I reached out to a few people who, I didn't have a really close relationship with anyways. And it was just like, "Hey, do you want to learn about this?" And naturally they weren't interested. So I have since then really tried to be a lot more careful about actually trying to create more of a relationship first, but being authentic and true in it, because people can tell if you're being if you have an ulterior motive, so you don't want to message them and ask one question and then not really listen to their response, or, just say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I also want to ask you about this," and just start running with Juice Plus. So, and the other thing to keep in mind with that I have noticed is, because some people, even if you do start that relationship, they're still not going to be interested right away. We know that sometimes it takes a lot of exposures for somebody to say yes. So what I will do is, even if they're not interested, you want to keep that dialogue going and open. Okay, I understand that, you're not ready for this right now. If I, come across any articles that I think, you would be interested in, would you let me share those with you? Is that okay? Usually they say yes. But then after that, I always try to still go back to them, every month or, whenever I think of them, just to say, "Hey, how are you doing?" Or, continue that relationship and that dialogue. Because if they say, "No, I'm not interested in Juice Plus," and then you stop that conversation with them, then, that kind of solidifies or validates what they were maybe thinking, that you were just trying to get a sale anyways.
Love that. It's a great point. Are you using Teamzy? Is that what you're using to track your touches?
I'm not, and I want to get on that. Do you use Teamzy?
I do, and I really love it. Yeah. So our team is
a lot of great things.
But our team is starting to go there, and we are going to do some training on it. I'll be happy to share it with you at the right time.
Definitely.
But it is so user friendly. If you're that savvy on social media, you won't have any trouble with it.
Okay.
Let's talk about hashtags.
Okay.
And what's the best way to choose which hashtag you're going to use, and how those fit into the algorithms.
Yeah. So with the way the algorithms work is with hashtags. When people search, you can search on Instagram, you can search on Facebook, and it'll pop up, those hashtags are what pops up. So if you're making, and we can talk about making your post public in a second also, because that ties into that. But you want to try and be relevant, pick hashtags that a lot of people are going to be searching frequently, because that's going to get you in front of, a wider audience, definitely. What I found that works best is my Facebook and my Instagram accounts are linked. So if I post on Instagram, if I click the Facebook button, it will automatically post that same post on my Facebook too. So I don't have to do it in both places. Mm-hmm. So I'll always go to Instagram first. And when I'm in the body of my post, like where you're typing in your post, when you start to do your hashtag, you do the, hashtag and start to type out your word, it will give you examples or, what other recently used hashtags are. And you'll be able to see, 1 million people used this one, or 40 people used this one. Well, you want to pick the one that 1 million people, used, as long as it's something that, as long as it goes along with what you're trying to portray there. You don't want to pick something just completely off the wall. So like, for example, I made a post about going back to school recently and, getting Juice Plus gummies for your kids. And so I hashtagged teachers, I hashtagged school, I hashtagged school supplies, which are things that you wouldn't necessarily think would go along, with Juice Plus, but it is within that realm. And, those are things that people are posting. And so I got a lot of likes from moms and, things like that, who other, which is our audience, definitely, in regards to that. And they might not have ever seen that post otherwise. So, but you want to try and get in front of as many people as you can with those hashtags, definitely, because people will see your post. And I've noticed this on Instagram a lot more. They'll see the post, they'll like the post, and then they will start to follow me, because my Instagram is open. So I don't have to approve people to follow me. And so I get a lot more followers a lot quicker that way. And I have, my Instagram is public, so everybody can see that. I am a lot more cautious though with what I post on Instagram. Like I don't post as many private family things on Instagram as I do on Facebook for that reason, because my Facebook is still private. Because on Facebook you can choose whether you want to post to be private or public. And so all of my Juice Plus posts I always make public. And part of the reasoning for that too is because if any of my friends or family feel the need to share it, it has to be public for them to be able to share that. And for people to search as well.
Okay, this is great conversation. Let's go a little deeper. So what I'm hearing you say is on Instagram under settings, there's a way to have your setting be open so that you don't have to approve followers. We probably need to do that. Mm-hmm. And then you also set it to public, so you're not going to post as much personal family photos there.
And that's just my own personal, that makes me feel better as a mom, and I still post my girls on there, definitely. I try not to use their full names, just different little things that makes me feel better about it. Putting them out, to the public.
So then on Facebook, tell us, because it gives us a choice now, public or private. And you're saying if it's a health oriented post, we should go public so that then our friends and family can share it.
Correct. Yes, okay. Yeah, that's definitely what I would suggest. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I have certain customers of mine who are, definitely raving fans. They share a lot of my posts, and they wouldn't be able to share them, if it wasn't a public post. So.
Okay. And I have had people come back to me and say, can you make that public so I can share it? So you can change it if you, for some reason, didn't, do it right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Mm-hmm. So let's close out with a few things, Amanda. Tell us what you believe are, your number one, words of wisdom or tools for someone who's going to be using social media a lot. What is the thing they need to focus on most? If you could narrow it down into one or two things, and then we'll close out with your Juice Plus story.
Okay. I would just say just to be authentic and to be be real, be yourself. The way that I post is not the way that somebody else is going to post, and vice versa. You always want to use your own language whenever possible, and, just get your heart out there. And that's part of why I like the live videos, as nerve-wracking as they are, because it really shows the emotion a lot more. And that's really what pulls people in. Just reading the words in the post all the time isn't necessarily going to be as all-encompassing for some people. So, just be yourself. And if you're comfortable, posting more frequently, then post more frequently. But yeah, when you're doing social media, you have to be willing to put yourself out there, and and not worry about what other people think. And that's been the hardest thing for me, is just kind of, letting that shell go. And, those who matter don't mind, and those who matter, how does it go? Those who matter don't mind. No, right. Those who mind don't matter. No, yes, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. There you go.
I'm glad you got that, because I was going to have trouble. Yeah.
Like a little tongue twister. Right?
Yeah.
And, that's just kind of, it's taken me a while to come to the realization of that. And the other thing is consistency. You have to be consistent with your posts and your, what you're trying to portray, and living the lifestyle. Because if you're posting about this one week and then, the next week you're not, sometimes that you can be showing different, conflicting stories there. But the consistency is the key, because, so for example, I've posted on Facebook from the very beginning. And I have had quite a few people in the last 2 months or so who have, reached out to me. They've not liked any of my posts. They've not commented. They've not done anything, but they'll reach out to me in Messenger and say, hey, I've been stalking you on Facebook, and, I'm interested in what you got going on. Tell me about what you give your girls, or, I need more energy. I see that you've been posting about, having more energy. Help me out, things like that. And these are people that I don't talk to on a regular basis. I've not reached out to them, and they've not liked anything on my page. So I had no idea that they were looking. Yeah. But people watch and people see what you're posting. So, that consistency goes a really long way.
Perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to finish us up with 2 things that Amanda said, and then I'm going to let her tell her story. And I'm going to use these hashtags when we post this video. But it sounds like consistency is a key, and it sounds like being authentic is a key. Yes. And just being your true self. Mm-hmm. So Amanda, being your true self, tell us your Juice Plus story, because we all want to hear how you learned about the product and what it's done for your family.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So about a year and a half ago, my family's health was completely different than it is today. I had my daughters were 9 months old and 2 years old, and they were on their 4th strain of antibiotics already, because they had so many ear infections, strep throat, you name it. They were sick all the time. And they were in daycare, so I thought that was, the normal. Looking back on it, it was not, but I didn't know, what I didn't know back then. And so, every time they got sick, my husband and I got sick. I was actually on antidepressant medication after the birth of my youngest daughter. My hair was falling out. I didn't have any energy. And my husband was being monitored for high blood pressure, and he was only 33 at the time, which was pretty scary, because heart disease has ran in his family in the past. And so a friend of mine knew that we were struggling and with my daughter's ear infection specifically. And so she reached out to me because of that and shared Juice Plus. And I looked at the research and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so we need to get on this. And the girls went ahead and did get their ear tubes placed, because that's what the pediatricians recommended, since they were having that antibiotic resistance already. But then we started Juice Plus, and we started making other small healthy changes along the way. And, fast forward a year and a half, and we are, completely different than we were then. They've not been to the doctors for a sick visit in a year and a half. Like a little cold here or there, a little runny nose, and it's over in a day, versus, before we were down for 4 days, a week, and no strep throat. That seasonal allergies are gone. I was able to get off of my antidepressant medication. My energy levels are much better now. I've actually lost 25 pounds, which was not even on my radar as a goal at all. But when you're eating healthy, your body gets healthier. And so that's been a nice surprise. And my husband is no longer being monitored for high blood pressure, and he's lost some weight also. So, along the way, some amazing things have come out of it for sure. And so because of all those changes and, improvements, in January is when I decided that I needed to start sharing this with everybody. But really the big turning point was I watched Wendy Campbell's The Gift of Hope Based on Science. And my grandmother was battling ovarian cancer. And I watched that video and I was like, okay, well, I have to sign up, and she's going to be my first customer, and I'm going to help her. And she passed that week, so I wasn't able to help her. But I do know that the nutrition that I'm getting in my body and in my daughter's bodies is going to help us, in the future to hopefully, if we, God forbid, have to battle that, we're going to have the equipment that we need to battle it. Or, if we can prevent it at all possible, that's definitely the goal there. And, sharing it with everybody that I can, because everybody deserves to know about the power of this. Definitely.
Wow. Thank you for your story. You did great. And thank you for sharing your secrets, if you will, or your tips on social media. It's been a pleasure to get to know you, Amanda. It's been fun. And I'm so grateful that you reached out and said, I want to join your Pajama Regionals. So
Me too. I'm so grateful you said yes.
Yeah. I guess the final point is just to remember that sideline buddies can be quite helpful. It's not always your upline that you have to look to. So thanks again, Amanda. I hope you have a great day, and we are so excited to learn from you.
You also. Thank you. Bye.